technical difficulties that we had to take care of. So, welcome back. All right, so we had to take care of some technical difficulties. Hopefully, you are back and online. So, again, peace, love, and divine light. I hope the sun is shining wherever you are and you're living in your greatest purpose. So, I've already made my introduction. We were talking about this subject that just kind of like resonated with me before coming on the live. I'm gonna give folks a couple of minutes to come on. And what I received before coming on is okay, just make sure that this is up. Welcome back. So before coming on, the message that I received is is your gift serving the right purpose? Right? We all have gifts, spiritual gifts, whatever you want to call it, abilities that you were born with, that you've been given by your spirit guides, your spiritual team. For many of you, some of these gifts have been passed down from generation to generation. Okay. For some of you, you have, you have gifts that were passed down from your parents, right? Your great grandparents. They had these same abilities. Okay. Some of you, you may have the gift of clairvoyance. Okay. It could be a spiritual gift, such as clairvoyance. All right. Some of you, there are gifts that have been passed down to you that have given you abilities that are allowing you to be able to make a living, to do things for yourself. Okay. It could be, playing music, for example. Okay. Perhaps music is an ability that, your great grandparents had. Some of you, it could be being an artist. For some of you, it could be being a speaker. Okay. These are talents or gifts, okay, for lack of a better term, that are unique to you. These are gifts that are unique to you. Other people may have those gifts, yet even though they have those same gifts, you'll see that it's not manifested in the same way as it manifests in you. Okay. So you could have two people from different continents, for example, that have the gift of teaching, for example. Yet you have two teachers who teach completely different. Yet those gifts serve a very specific purpose. They can teach differently, yet the gift serves a purpose. Your gifts are meant to help you first and foremost. And some may not know that. Some may not know that. Some may have some sort of awareness of that. And that's important to know, that your gifts are meant to serve you first and foremost. Your gifts are meant to elevate you. Your gifts are meant to create a way for you to succeed, to elevate yourself. And for many of you, that's what you've seen. For the most part, you have seen that your gifts have made a way for you. Regardless of what kind of way those gifts have made a way. Wait, let me make sure I'm saying that correctly. Regardless of the ways that's been made for you, your gifts have created pathways. They've literally opened blockages. They've opened pathways for you to do various things. For many of you, your gifts have allowed you to awaken to a new level that you may not have been awakened to. And it's like you found out essentially that the more you started using your gifts, the more you started tapping into your gift, the more something began awakening in you. And it's like that awakening just started to, it trickled down. It may have started gradually and then it increased. The more you apply your gifts, I feel like in a sense you're speaking to the divine and you're telling that spiritual side of you, like, hey, something's awakening. It's like your soul awakens the more you begin to use your gift, or you start to use your gift. Because I feel like there's a soul aspect to having your gift. It's connected to your awakening. It's connected to you being enlightened and tapping into that, your higher self, right? So we know this to be something that is true, right? Our gifts are meant to help us first and foremost. There is circumstances, and I think when I received this message, it wasn't so much so I was getting this energy of you not being helped by your gifts. And I could specifically be speaking to some people who this message resonates with. What I was receiving more so is that some of us are using our gifts for the wrong reasons. Some of us may be using our gifts, and our gifts may be serving the wrong purpose, the wrong entities. And we may or may not be conscious of that. And some of us may be somewhat conscious of it and choose to be passive about it. Some of us may be very, very clear that those gifts are being used by the wrong sources. What do I mean by that? Okay, what do I mean by that? That means that oftentimes we take on tasks where we are hired by people, or we get contracted to do certain things because of our abilities. And those contracts are not necessarily high vibrational. Those contracts or those tasks, the jobs that we are assigned to, many a times they come with a price that we may not be aware of. A lot of times we're not aware of them. Sometimes we think that we're just, we're signing up for a job, or we've been contracted to do this X, Y, and Z, and we're not fully aware of what is involved in this contractual agreement. Whether it is a job, whatever kind of job it is that you're being paid for or not paid for, to use your gifts. Many a times we're not completely clear on the purpose that it's serving. Okay? Many a times we're not completely clear on that. And I think sometimes it's a lot easier to take on those contracts. For many of us, it could be easier to take on those contracts because we're not really sure that there is another way, right? We're not sure that there is another way to fulfill our purpose, to use our gifts. And so it's like someone comes along and they're like, oh, okay, I can hire you to do X, Y, and Z. Or sometimes it's the other case where you're the one doing the hiring. You're hiring someone because you believe that someone has a gift. Yet is that contractual agreement, is it of high vibrational energy? Is it serving a higher purpose, if that makes sense? So we don't always dig into, the ins and outs of those contractual agreements. And perhaps it's time that we do. And I'm going to give an example. Okay. You could be someone who is, you're excellent working with children, right? You have this gift or this ability of being able to connect on a level, and you love working with children and you love helping children. And so you decide that this is a gift that you've been given to be able to assist and support, children. And you apply to an organization not fully being aware of the ins and outs of that organization. And please keep in mind, I'm not speaking about a specific organization right now. I'm really more so focused on the fact that a lot of times when we take on these contracts, whether it is us, giving service or receiving service based on certain gifts, it's important that we do some background work. Because again, what I was hearing before coming on is your gift serving the right purpose? A lot of times the gifts are not serving the right purpose. And it's not serving a purpose. It may not be serving the right purpose for you based on who you say you are. Okay? Based on who you say you are as a person. You claim to be a light being, a starseed, and this, that, and the third, right? Yet, we also must be aware that not every contract is a high vibrational one. Okay? Not every contract is a high vibrational one. So going back to that example, right? So you have this gift of working with children and you decide to, work with or contract with an organization that supposedly helps, children. And you have not done the background work to know who these people are. And your thing is just now you're getting to use your gift, okay? You're getting paid for it, or, someone's paying you. Yet the purpose is not necessarily in alignment with who you are. And many times you may or may not know that based on the research that you've done. It's essential that we do research with anyone we choose to work with, y'all. And I feel like that's part of where Spirit is going. It's important that we do research on who we choose to work with, who we choose to devote time and energy to or with. Okay, whoever it is that you choose to have a contractual agreement with. It's essential that we do background work on who these people are. And whether or not it's in agreement with who you are, it's important. And it's almost like you have some sort of like soul contract, right? You came on this planet as a starseed, a light being, and you say that this is what you've chosen to do. Like, this is who you are. Yet the work that you are doing or the people that you're working with, their energy and what they stand for may not be in alignment with your purpose. And I feel like part of that is a lot of times, we can kind of, it's like we can kind of go backwards in essence, if that makes any sense. We can kind of go backwards if we are not careful of who we choose to have these contractual agreements with. And I can give you a personal example of mine. I have been in positions where I have left or I chose not to continue or move forward with certain positions because once it became very clear to me who I was dealing with, what I was dealing with, it's almost like my soul couldn't, it wouldn't allow me to move forward, with whoever it is, what would have been the ideal. Okay. So I'm going to give you a specific example of me being a teacher. Okay. I received a teaching position, a very, well-paying teaching position. And I was contracted to work at a university. And I was getting paid really, really, I was getting paid really well. Until I actually found out what kind of what kind of work climate it was. Little by little, I eventually began finding out what kind of work climate I had, started working in. And on the surface, it seemed like it was all good and well until you start learning more about the work climate. And it was just like, whoa, like there was something spiritually that was not allowing me to stay in that space. And many a times we disregard those intuitive nudges. Okay? We receive information from our spirit guides that tell us clearly that this ain't for you. I know this pays well. I know this pays very well, but this ain't for you. We've received nudges like that. Yeah, we continue, to ignore them because we're like, listen, oh, okay, whatever that, oh, you say that's an intuitive nudge. Listen, them bills got to be paid. This got to be paid. This got to be paid. So essentially, it's like, what are we giving precedence to? What are we serving? The almighty, coin? Or are we serving our highest purpose? Again, let me repeat that. Are you serving material possessions or are you serving your highest purpose? And as difficult or challenging as it may sound, it is, yet it isn't really that challenging to give up something that you essentially see is not in alignment with your soul. And I know oftentimes that we are put in positions financially where we feel like our backs are against the wall. Like there's so much that we are trying to take care of, things just, yet we know that what we're doing, right? We have been given the task to use our gifts, yet it's not necessarily serving the highest purpose. So that's definitely something to think about. Is your gift serving the highest purpose? And many a times when our spirit reveals certain things about, certain climates of the places that we give our time and energy to, best believe that whatever's been revealed to you, there's a lot more to it than that. Okay? If you feel a sense, whatever climate you're in, if you feel a sense that it's like a dog eat dog kind of environment, folks are not really real with each other, that kind of thing, best believe that there's most likely a lot more behind it than that. And many a times your spirit guides are revealing those things to you. It's to avoid you going deeper into something that is not necessarily good for the awakening of your soul. Essentially, you would be going backwards. Like many of us end up going backwards because we choose to take money from the wrong kind of entities. We end up going backwards. Or it's either going backwards or it's like the growth is like, because money is currency and currency is energy. So in essence, it's like whoever is funding whatever it is that you're doing, whatever energy is attached to them, it also is connected to your purpose, your progress, you moving forward in your purpose. And oftentimes we don't see that until it's much, much later in the game, where something a lot more detrimental happens and we're like, oh, dang, I wish I could have, I should have. Okay, so I would say that being mindful of your gifts are definitely important. Being mindful of the purpose that you're using those gifts for, what it's attached to, is also important. Making sure that what you're using it for is in alignment with who you choose to become. Because many a times those things that we end up doing, right? Whether it's a contractual agreement or working for someone, it definitely comes at a cost. Whether you see it now or later, it definitely comes at a cost, and it costs. Sometimes it ends up costing your mental health. Sometimes it ends up costing, your unrest, really, your mental health, right? Sometimes it impacts your home life to where you almost feel like there is none. You've devoted all your time and energy into something that really does not care about you or your family life. Okay? So most definitely use those gifts and be mindful of what purpose those gifts are serving, because a lot of times it's not serving the highest good. It's not serving your highest purpose. Okay? So truly, I hope that I know this message was for someone, because the way that this thing was just like, huh. And I know that the message was definitely for someone, so I hope the message was useful and that you are able to use it and apply it, and you are able to use it to live your greatest purpose. Okay? Let's see. Hey Noli, how are you? I see the hand wave. I didn't see it before. How are you? I'm just going back to some of these comments. Rajiv, how are you? All right, y'all. Okay, so I have included information regarding personal readings in the description box. You can also find that information in the community tab for those who are interested in personal readings. Thank you for joining the live, and I hope that you continue to live in your greatest purpose, y'all. All right? So, let's see. So if you haven't already, like, comment, share, continue to thumbs up the video, so that others may see it as well. I see you, Noli. Good to see you. Emperor, good to see you as well. Welcome. So, if there are any questions for me, I will take those questions. Any questions about what was talked about? I don't usually do that. For some reason, I'm feeling that it may be useful. Angela, you said it's confirmation for you. That's awesome. I'm glad that the information is useful. Where are you guys tuning in from? Piyumi, I think I pronounced that right. Good to see you. Frey, Florida. Hey. Oh, I'm glad. I'm so glad it was. Oh, Angela. Oh, much respect. Link, you're from the USA. Okay. NC, Emperor, you are from, what is that, North Carolina? It's all good. South Africa in the house. Hey, Noli. Okay, North Carolina. From USA, it's all good. Continent is just fine. You're from Sri Lanka, Takshila. Good to see you. And I'm glad that the message resonated. And I thank you all for your high vibrational energy and comments. They're very much appreciated. So if there are no questions, I will sign off. If there are questions, I will stay on here for a little bit. Okay, Frey, you said you had a similar situation like yours in travel industry, was let go. Then you got into healthcare. Oh, and Arul, you said thank you for your positive vibes. Ashe. Link, you said something about singing an African hymn. You want me to share it again? I wonder which one it was. African was it? It could possibly be Haitian. It was probably a tune from Haiti. Hey Albert, good to see you. So yeah, so Frey, you said that you're in a position now where you feel like you are helping. Okay, that's awesome. It's really important that whatever we're doing, it sits right with us. You know, it sits right with our spirit, our souls, because after we leave whatever job position, whether you're working for someone full time or you're contracting with them, after you leave that, you leave that job, right? Not leave it permanently, but after you go home, right? When you go home from that job, essentially you have to face yourself. You have to face yourself, the energy that you experience when you're there, the people, and sometimes the people that you work with. And many can relate. You know, many of us definitely know that we have worked with some folks that are basically energy vampires. Like, you know that, like, working with these people, it's almost like you wouldn't have a soul left. You know, the longer you work in those places or industries, whatever it is, or the contracts that you have, you essentially, like, little by little, you see yourself being pulled away. So, yeah, it drains you. Absolutely. It drains you. And the most important part about that, Frey, is that you saw that. Okay, you saw it, you were conscious of it, you didn't choose to be passive about it or ignore what was happening to you. Because some of us, we're kind of like, I'll deal with it because, you know, it pays well, or I'll deal with it because I have this financial goal. And sometimes it's like by the time we accomplish that financial goal, that thing has taken so much of our energy, we don't even know who we are. We don't know where we're at. We don't have a concept of time. It's like so much of the soul is the energy is taken. And so it's like you paid a price. You know, you thought you were going into that job or having that contract so you can gain, and it ended up being that you lost more. You lost your sense of self. You lost your energy. You lost your concept of time. You end up finding out that you lost a lot more than you gained. Mm-hmm. So, I hope you do whatever it is that you do. I hope that you allow your gifts to shine without necessarily giving up your soul, your spirit. Because many of us disregard the work that we are. Honestly, I really think that, and this is my personal opinion, that anyone who's able to overlook, you know, the damage that they're doing to themselves as well as others, for the sake of, you know, financial gain, it's like, kind of have to reevaluate that. Yes, I know we live in a world that is driven by money. And I think part of it is that, like, many of us may not have the faith to know that our spirit guides have something better waiting for us the minute that we decide to close the door that's not serving our highest good. Okay? We don't really, you know, it's like we can't see ahead. Your spirit guides are like telling you it's time to go. You're starting to feel it physically, mentally, spiritually. And, you know, it, you listen. Link, yes, it's haïtien. Uh, Although it's spelled with an H, my concept and understanding of who we are as people of Taino descent, um, it's spelled with it's spelled without the H, and it's AYITI. Hey Christine, good to see you. So, if there are no other questions, I hope this was useful. And I know that many of you have already said it's useful, so I'm glad that it was. Um, any inquiries regarding personal readings, you can email me at messagesfromthewaters@gmail.com, or you can book through Calendly at messagesfromthewaters@gmail.com. I'm not sure what that song was. If you can recall the video or the short link, then I can go back to that and, I can recollect which one because I tap into various like energies. It may have been like, a Yoruba song, not necessarily spoken in Yoruba, or it could have been tapping into like a Yoruba energy, spirit guide. Okay. If after this live, put in the comments, maybe like you could find the video and reference it, the day or time, or not time, the which video it was. I can definitely reference it. All right, y'all. I am going to get off this live and thank you for joining. Thank you for your high vibrational comments. Thank you for making this channel what it is. Truly humbled for your energy, your presence. The divinity in me salutes the divinity in you. Peace, love, and divine light continue to elevate, y'all. I am going to be doing a reading, so if you're interested in, checking to see, checking the energy that shows up, stay tuned. All right. Peace, love, divine light.